you guys affectionately know, of the Manatee Mafia, a longtime coach in our industry, longtime ref, over 582 career wins. He's inducted into the 2015 Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he was 2013 Official of the Year. He also
for football. For football.
For football.
Yeah.
Woo! So he does football too.
Best rep in the state, hands down.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. First of all, how's the family? How's everything going? And how has this been affecting your world over there with the Mafia?
Family as well. Everybody's good. Just everything's shut down like everybody else, you know. Kind of hard to get better at wrestling if you're not wrestling. So there's tons of other things we're trying to get them to do, but how do I know they're doing them, right?
Right. I was going to say, do you have them on? Do you have some sort of virtual program going on right now?
We haven't got to that point. You know, I've sent them text messages, give them things to do, but we haven't gotten to anything online yet. I imagine everybody's kind of in the same boat, right? There's a few people that have gone out and I'm sure doing things online. I know BB's doing a ton of stuff. So it's out there if the people want to do it. But my athletic director has given us strict information saying no contact, no workouts, no practices. So
oh, wow.
I'm going to listen.
Yeah, you're getting hit already with a bunch of Gattas in the comments.
Yeah, we have a great following. We have a great following. Most people think they know what Gatta means, but I don't know if everybody really knows what it means.
That's awesome. Well, so the Manatee Mafia is a club you started many years ago. So talk about it. Talk about why it was so important to get it started and what it means to you, the community, everyone.
Sure. The Manatee Wrestling Club has been around a long time. As a matter of fact, back in the 80s and possibly even the 70s, it used to be called the Anna Maria Island Wrestling Club, which is a beautiful island right off the coast of Bradenton here in Central Florida. But it kind of grew into the Manatee Mafia with a guy named Gugliemini running it. It kind of went that way. But it's the different aspects of the Mafia, you know, the good things, the brotherhood, the family, the commitment, loyalty, dedication, the good aspects. We're not burying people or you know, giving them the concrete boots, as they say, or we're not taking people's kneecaps out. It's the good stuff, you know, the things that you learn that you can carry on in your life when wrestling's over.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're on both spectrums. I'm glad I had you on because so you are a coach on the mat and you are a ref on the mat. So talk about the differences. I mean, obviously, when you have your coach's hat on, it's your job to make sure that you're keeping the ref honest, and when you got the ref hat on, it's your job to ref properly.
Yeah, so it's difficult at times. The best part about it is the majority of the officials I'm friends with, and most of them, they know that if I go to the table, that I know what I'm talking about. That they better be prepared. So I know the rules as well as anybody. That part is good. And when I'm in the corner, they better make the right call. If not, I'm gonna call them on it. I used to go to the table a lot more. As I get older, you get a little wiser. I maybe don't go to the table as much, but I've had some interesting conversations at the table. Some people just smile and listen and say, "All right, Goog, you done?" And they send me on my way. I do know if they have misapplied and some of the younger officials especially, I'll go to the table and tell them, "Listen, I know you don't understand this, but you've just made the wrong call. We've got to fix this because that's the job as an official. You've got to get the right call." Cipriano's unbelievable. Zach, unbelievable. Jeremy Walton, those are great guys, and you know that you have trust that 99.9% of the time they've got the right call.
Yeah,
But
I
some of
think
them
when you
don't.
talk to I think when you talk to the kids or the wrestlers, um, they just want it refed fairly. It's not they don't want the calls to go their way or the other way. They just want the calls to be right. So that's awesome, and you can tell the kids get to know who's on the mat and stuff because even like I was talking to Sips, and I know my son when he'll see him on the mat, for example, here in Central Florida, I know the kids are like, okay, we're gonna get a fair shake
Sure.
here.
Same thing with Jeremy Walton here in our area on the West Coast here. Jeremy Walton is one of the finest officials. As a matter of fact, shout out to Jeremy at the state tournament this year. I know he was presented with an award. He was the, I believe, the national winner of the coaches of the, referee of the year. So that's huge. But the
Awesome.
kids know that, like you're saying. When you win a state title at Manatee High School, your picture goes up on the wall as you walk into the gymnasium, and it's up there hopefully forever. Last year, 2019, Noah Wadle won a state title. Noah chose a picture that had Jeremy Walton raising his hand, and he felt like that was important because they really do. They love Jeremy. They love Sip as well. They love Zach. But yeah, it matters, you know. That's one less thing you got to worry about if you know that you've got one of the top officials on the whistle.
Yeah, it's yeah, because and like I tell people, I go, look, I'm just a parent of a wrestler for the last 2 years, and I kind of just started this because I felt like it needed to be started, and then Ricky allowed me to do it in the room, so it's kind of doing what it's doing, right?
This is amazing what you're doing. This is giving people,
yeah,
a voice, and it's starting dialogue. It's something our sport needs.
Yeah, and I'm not a wrestling guy, so I'm not here saying, hey, I'm not elitism or whatever, you know. And so I just try to bring it, and that's fun. So you've had a long career, some interesting stuff go on through it. Tell us some good stories of being on the mat or being on the coach. Tell us some of the matches that you've reffed that you'll never forget.
They used to have a tournament here in the Manatee County Civic Center. It was actually the Christmas Classic. Sarasota would put it on, and I would make sure that the Manatee team was off that weekend, so I would always get the referee that tournament. And I watched some really good matches. I ref some really good matches there. I don't get to ref as much as I'd like to. I feel like I'm as good as any official. Obviously, they work a little more. But I used to win they have these little golden whistles they gave out. And everybody would always want to be, one of those. They give out 2 or 3 every year. You were the golden whistle. I think I won like 6 of them. But it was only one of my only tournaments a year I get to work. For me, that would be my state tournament because, it was the highest level. But I got this. Brandon would always come down. Some Miami teams would come up. There would always be some good matchups. I just don't get to get on the mat as much as I would like to. But football, that's another story. This year I did a state semifinal game. I'm a white hat, of course. I'm in charge. I tend to like to be in charge of things. That's kind of my personality. That's the way I roll. But I did a state semifinal game. What a game! Armwood hosted Edgewater. What a game!
That's got to be fun stuff there, huh?
I love get out. I love being in. I mean, I've got the best seat in the house when I'm out on the football field. That's a real busy time of year for me. I'm doing football. We're doing games on Friday night. Wrestling practice has started. We got our preseason classic that's always right around that time. So we're so busy. Good thing I've got an unbelievable coaching staff underneath me that works with me, I should say, not underneath. And that's part of, again, the Mafia. That's part of what we believe at Manatee.
So how was your year this year?
We had a great year. We won 31 dual meets. We went 31-11. We won the district duels. Went on to lose in the region. We've just missed the gate going to Team State this year. We lost to Palm Harbor. We beat them the previous week, and then they turned around and beat us in a close duel. But we had a very successful season. We had some kids. We had a state champ. We had a state finalist. We had a kid take fourth. We had another kid take third. We had 4 kids on the podium this year. There's not a lot of programs that can say that. 4 years in a row running now, we've had a state champ. 5 out of the last 6. So, and here's the best part. Out of those 4 kids that placed this last season, 3 of them are coming back. I got a state champ and a state finalist who won state last year. They're all returning. So we're excited about hopefully if we get on the mat,
And you also have some. You also not just the Manatee Mafia, but don't you have a bunch of different youth clubs that you're involved in as well?
Well, we run the Manatee Wrestling Club. It's affectionately known as the Manatee Mafia, but the Manatee Wrestling Club, we've got some kids. I've got 2 8th graders, actually 3. 2 of them are going to jump right into the varsity lineup, I imagine. They're that good. The other day when you had all the youths on, I tried to pump their names in there. I put it in the comments, but it's okay. Mason Miller is as good as anybody. He's a tough kid. He's going to jump right in. He went up to South Carolina with us last year as a 7th grader going into 8th grade, and he went 11-4 competing against high school kids.
Wow,
that's
awesome.
Pretty dang good. Yeah, and not at the little weight class. He's at 145, 152. So he's going to make some noise next year. And then Jake Samuel's going to – as tough as any kid out there as well.
How about the Gulf Coast of Florida right now? That Gulf Coast wrestling seems like it's really doing. You've seen I've had Palm Harbor on, now yourself,
yep.
Connor Beebe, all those guys down there that on that coast, man. You guys are really building some incredible.
Don't forget, you go all the way down to Naples. Go all the way down to Naples, and those clubs down there. Naples and Palmetto Ridge, and of course Riverdale is as good as anybody in the state. They're good. We're solid over here. We don't have to travel very far to get some good action. That's for sure.
That's a good thing.
We like Manatee though. We tend to try to travel a little bit. We like to roll to the East Coast. We like to go down. We're hoping to go to New Jersey this year. A trip. How would you like to have a trip to New Jersey / New York over Christmas break? And then, while we're here, let's just hang out and do Times Square for New Year's Eve. What do you think? Can I let 15 kids loose? We're going to do it. We got our fingers crossed. So any of my sponsors out there, get ready because we're going to need you.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. And what a memory for those kids, right?
We did it 3 or 4 years ago. Correct. We did it 4 years ago, and it was an amazing trip. We went to the tree, the big Christmas tree was at a Rockefeller Center or wherever. And we did all that, but we didn't stay for New Year's. I think this year, the way the calendar runs, I think we're going to probably end up wrestling on the 29th up there. So if we're that close, we've got to stay for New Year's.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
Imagine the memories, like you said. Those kids will talk about that for the rest of their lives. We went to New York City for New Year's Eve.
So what's on your mind? What do you want to get off your chest? You want to blow some
I want the kids to be able to wrestle. And I'm not a doctor. But this whole COVID-19 thing, I know we've got to be careful in schools, but outside of that, if you're healthy, if you aren't feeling any symptoms, I know you could be a carrier and a this and a that. Again, I'm not an expert, but if you feel okay and you are okay and you don't have a temperature, why can't we get together? Why, we played cornhole yesterday, me and some buddies. We had a great time. I didn't stay 6 feet apart from everybody. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get some hate mail. If you're sick, stay away. I get it. But what about us people? The majority of us, right? We're healthy. we're we're not feeling any of the symptoms. We're not of ill health. If you are, stay at home until this passes. The rest of
What
us
do
are
you
just
think
sitting here going,
What do you think is going to be the new norm for the clubs? Do you think that are we going to start with maybe the privates at first and do one-on-ones and then go into smaller groups, or do you think it's going to be doors are open, let's fly?
I don't think I don't know if this summer we'll be able to gather at like the high schools or so. If you have a private location, I think you're going to be ahead of the game. Um, those of us that have our practices at a high school, I don't know when they're going to allow us in. You know, when are we going to be able to get on the mat? I don't know. So,
The good thing
like
is,
everything else, it's to be determined. You know.
yeah, I mean, the good thing is, and I'm learning about how tight this community is. I got to imagine there's a club down the street that'll welcome the Manatee Mafia to come practice at their facility with them.
I can't wait to get in with the Scorpions. When me being a Jersey guy, I'm from New Jersey, so I can't wait to get up there and work with those guys. We love going to the Rumbles. We travel. Like I told you, we're not scared to get in the car and go for a couple hours. We don't have a problem driving to the Central Florida Wrestling Academy. That's one of the best Saturdays that we can have. We try to get to at least one a month during the summer, sometimes two. It's just good times, good wrestling there.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you don't have a facility, how far is BB trained from you?
BB's right up the road. He's up there. I know he goes to a few different places, but yes, they're right there. And BB, kudos to you, man. Good job getting those mats. 82 mats he has or has purchased or has given out to kids so that they have some place to get some work in. That's awesome, man. Great job, Connor.
Yeah, he's I just met him through this, and we've already stayed in contact. And I try to promote it for him because I've always been involved in foundations. I do a lot with Make a Wish, and I've been doing that for about 7 years. So it's
Good
been
stuff.
great. And it's amazing how this community is, because just like yourself, there's a lot of folks that are going to be in your situation where the high school's not going to be open and allow the club in. So it's great to know that there's clubs around that aren't. It's not one of those sports where people are selfish. They'll say, "Hey,
right,
that's cool. Don't worry about it. Come one day up to CFWA. Come down to Palm Harbor. Come over to BB Train. Come into Lakeland and hang out at the Strawberry Fest." I mean, there's so many good people.
I love that. That facility is awesome too. Top Gun's doing a great job. One of the things, whenever we have a tournament at Manatee, and whenever else I can use this line, I use it. I right before we get ready to wrestle, we'll have 300 plus entries at a Manatee tournament, and I'll tell everybody, relax and listen to this. Treat the restrooms at this facility properly. Throw your trash away. Wrestlers are better than everybody else, and I truly believe that. The community and wrestlers, we're better, and we prove it over and over again. So I don't think there would be any problem with people opening their doors, like you're saying, to have us in. We'll be willing to roll whenever they'll let us. We're ready to get on the mat, provided my athletic director allows me to.
Yeah, and that's I think that's just what makes this whole community different. And when I talk to people, it's amazing. Even if they played other sports, the people that they've stayed close with are the ones that were in the wrestling room with them, that they wrestled for life with. They don't remember the kid they played baseball with or the guy they played football with, but they all remember that core group of wrestlers that just live this life with them. That's awesome.
And with the Manatee Mafia, that's kind of one of the things I wanted to discuss is the community. I started getting a list of our sponsors together, and the one thing I noticed was all of them are either parents of or ex themselves wrestlers, former wrestlers, and that bond is just so strong, like you're saying, that when you get older, that's the one thing that they're going to give back to. Nordstrom hit the nail right on the head the other day when he talked about it. the people giving money and giving the opportunities for internships and stuff, they're all ex-wrestlers. They know that if you hire a wrestler, they know what you're getting. You're going to get a hardworking kid. You're going to get somebody that's dedicated, that's loyal, that's going to give their 100% to everything with whatever they're doing.
Yeah,
so, and here at Manatee, we have a lot of sponsors. We have a lot of families that have been through the years. But when I started looking at it, I noticed they're all ex-wrestlers. They were all involved primarily because their son wrestled or something like that. So that's what we're all about, man. Family.
And I think at that level that these kids, and I think that's what Kevin is saying, is that at that level, teaching that, but then when they get to the college level, they're not. They need those people to become sponsors. Those kids need to grow through the program, get that career, be allowed to do that. Now, I did have some people reach out, and they said there are some programs in the colleges now that have already started some mentor programs. So that's a good thing. Obviously, Kevin would like to see that more, I guess, polarizing, so people know, hey, wow, these schools are doing that. Also, right. For recruiting, I mean, a lot of these kids would love to know, okay, well, I've got 2 schools looking at me. That one has a great mentor program that's not just about wrestling. It's also about me. They both got
that's definitely not going to hurt, right? That's not going to hurt. That's going to make kids decide where to spend their time and where to go. That's huge.
And I really hope
back to the sport. You've got to get back to the sport.
The sport is done.
Where would I be? I'm not sure where I'd be if it wasn't for wrestling. I don't know. There's a lot of different opportunities or places and some of them aren't good, where I could have landed. And the wrestling has given me the opportunity to this great sport to share this and to. I honestly, I tell my kids all the time in the wrestling room, the majority of you, at some point, your wrestling is going to end. You're going to go on and you're going to be a businessman or a doctor or this or that. Not too many of us, your whole life, that's what it's involved in. I'm probably till I take my last breath, I'm going to be dealing with wrestling in some way, shape, or form. It's my life. And the other aspect of that is my beautiful wife. Let me tell you, all these challenges going on and they're posting this, post this. I challenge everybody to post someone that's more involved. That when we got married 15 years ago, she didn't know what a wrestling mat was, basically. And you could see her at all the tournaments. She's the one that does their hair when at the state tournament, the wonderful hair coloring. She's the boss. But she cooks for these kids. She helps. She helps behind the scenes where, not as many wives do that. So I am very fortunate and able to do what I do 24/7 with wrestling because my wife allows and she's involved with it.
It's taken, Daniel just finished his 3rd season, so 7th grade, 8th grade, and then 9th grade. And it's taken till 9th grade to get mom out to watch him. So she came to every match this year and she's coming along.
Well, once it gets you, you don't go back on it. Once wrestling takes you over,
and it's amazing to watch her because I used to tell her, like, you don't understand. Like, I just feel like every kid is my kid that I know. So all of a sudden I start to see that happening to her. And then she'll see, like, our senior was wrestling and got a win. And I'll look over and her eyes are tearing up. And I'm like, aha, you're hooked.
Look at that. And that's the majority of the time. That's why people get into the sport, right? Their son wrestles or their daughter wrestles. Coach Goog, I got married late at 38, and my beautiful wife already had a 19-year-old, so she really didn't want to start over again. So I don't have any kids. So I do this for the love of the sport and for the love of Manatee. I really do. It's why I'm here. And now I've got hundreds of kids, right? They,
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a ton of kids that all call me coach, but that's just like a lot of them are, it's a father figure for sure.
Well, it's good. I mean, hey, everybody has a place. Some people find it early. Some people find it late. Unfortunately, some people never find it. Obviously, you have your spot, and that's your place, and it's been working for you.
Yeah, I love it. When I started all this, did I ever in my wildest dreams think that I would be talking about next season getting my 600th career victory? Are you kidding me? I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I was a state caliber wrestler. I made the state tournament. I lost second round. I was good. I was maybe even a little better than good, but I'm an even better coach. I've had a lot of great people coach with me. You need to get David Mason on the show. I know a lot of people have told you that, but his mind is like no others. He's like an encyclopedia of wrestling, and he would be great on the show.
Well,
I'm
listen,
sure.
I tell people, I go, hey, if you want me to share my link with you to get people to sign up, it's my pleasure. I welcome everyone. I don't mind if you're a 8-year-old wrestler or you're an 80-year-old wrestler. I just want to talk to you and hear what it meant to be a wrestler and what you're doing now to help wrestlers. And if it doesn't matter to me who comes on.
I hear you, and this is a great platform to talk about, like you did yesterday. Was that yesterday with Nordstrom?
Yeah, man, it was unbelievable. I tell you, we got an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm like, my mouth was dropping. He had to stop and say, do you have any questions? I'm like, nope, just keep going. This is awesome. Yeah.
He's good, man. He's good. Well, it can go so many different ways, And there's a guy that I loved it when he said something about watching his dad put the suit, shirt, and tie on and going to work every day, and that's what he wanted, to be or to do. And boy, he's not a Brands fan, huh?
No. Yeah. Well, did you see that? He did throw a message up there like, "Hey, look, I know it came across a little tough, but I mean, he believes in education and he's standing behind it." So, and I turned around and I made sure that people understood too that he still loves wrestling. He's
Sure.
not trying to tell kids not to have a dream and not to wrestle. He loves wrestling, and wrestling has made him who he is. They just need to know that when you get to a point that you got to make a decision.
You've got to do something else. You've got to, yeah, you've got to. And like I said, for most people, at some point, you're going to wrestle or coach your last match, and it's time for you to move on. You can be a volunteer, you can help out and be a sponsor and all that. But at some point, you've got to find something else to do to make some money, right? You got to be able to feed your family. You got to be able to pay your mortgage or car payment, and all that stuff. And let's face it, wrestling for most it doesn't do that. So these guys all got to be prepared to go out, but they use all the wonderful things that they've learned in the sport of wrestling and football and basketball and all that stuff. But you use those things to get you by in life. But there's none better than wrestling, hands down.
Yeah, it's for real, and that's what's been so cool. I'm listening to everybody discuss that stuff, so it's been awesome. And like I said, I mean, the way that this show has taken off, like what happened as I'm talking to you, I've got Nick Soto, who I had on yesterday, already messaging me. Yeah, already messaging me saying, "Hey, I got 2 people now that we can get on," and so that's kind of what has happened. I talk with somebody, they get to talk to me and they see I'm not a complete idiot and I guess, maybe.
Oh, no, you're doing amazing, man. Hey, listen, you got to ask Nick. You got to ask Nick about some of those wars that Springstead and Manatee had. I'll give you, this is before Soto's time, but back in the early 2000s, I think it was, when Coach LaVia, Hall of Famer, was still there. Springstead was ranked number 1. Manatee was ranked number 1 or number 2 in different classifications. And we wrestled. And this is before you were allowed to have your underwear or your your slides or whatever come out under the singlet. Their wrestler, we're in a tightly contested dual meet. Their wrestler, I see the singlet right up. So I go to the table. I said, that's a point. You're right. He starts injury time. He tells the wrestler he's got to correct it. The wrestler runs off, comes back, takes the underwear, and tosses it onto the scorer's table. The referee flips out and goes, now you don't have suitable underwear on. This match is over. Levi takes his team and leaves. I'm pretty sure he got fined pretty heavily for that. But we won the duel. All I wanted was a point. All I wanted was 1 point, and we ended up winning the duel because they leave. But
man,
there was some nastiness involved between Springstead and Manatee. Boy, there was some great duels. Nick Soto was definitely involved.
It's been great to meet all these guys. I can't wait to. So last summer was the first off season that I did with my son, and that's how I got introduced to the club. And because we didn't know anything, we only wrestled the 7th and 8th grade, and I didn't know about off season stuff. I had no clue really. So we did that, and I got to meet all these people traveling with the club and going to camps. And I couldn't wait to get back into wrestling because it was like friendships and cool. And then I got to see Daniel running around with kids. So now that I'm doing this, I can't wait to get out there again so I can see them. And it's been fun. And with that being said, I got to throw Ricky's 10 questions at you. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it. I like it.
All right, let's go. Folk style or freestyle?
Folk style.
Headgear? No headgear.
I'm a headgear guy.
Singlet or two-piece?
Singlet.
Let's go. Brands or Sanderson?
Ooh, I'll go Sanderson.
For Kevin, right?
Yeah, dude, they're both, and in their own way, they're both highly successful. You know, I like the style of wrestling with Iowa. That's kind of more my style of wrestling. But Sanderson, I'm a huge fan. I was there. I clapped for about 14 minutes nonstop when he won his 4th NCAA title. My hands still hurt.
That's awesome. Ice cream cake or birthday cake?
Ice cream cake.
Yeah,
I've had enough birthdays.
I don't think that people remember the Carvel cakes that we had with kids.
And with the crumb, oh yeah, I love it.
Crumb, yeah.
Yeah.
Salt water or fresh water?
Salt water. We live right here on the Gulf. I love it.
Rap or country?
Country.
Car or pick 'em up truck?
Oh man, you got to see Big Red. I got me a Chevy Silverado. It's all jacked up. I love my truck. As a matter of fact, it's got its own Twitter. My truck, Big Red, is well known. Don't get in Big Red's way; he'll run you over.
I'll have to get on there. So, do you prefer the beach or the swimming pool?
Well, again, I had no idea ever in my world that I would one day own a house that has a swimming pool. I love my pool, but the beach is a beautiful place, isn't it? We're gonna have to call that one a tie.
Well, I think right now, I think everybody would pick the beach because we like what we can't have right now.
I went yesterday. Me and my wife went yesterday. Oh yeah, awesome. Nobody bothered us. We were there probably 2 hours. It was nice.
Oh, good. So here's the biggest one: Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
Oh Lord, I don't know if I've ever eaten at Popeyes.
Oh,
you mean the chicken sandwich? Chick-fil-A. Yeah. I'm a Chick-fil-A guy. Yeah. I will tell you, back in high school, I worked at McDonald's. I had to have a job. I come from I don't come from the best, well-based financial support system in the world. I had to work for pretty much everything I've ever had. I had to work in high school, and McDonald's was an amazing place to work. I worked through high school, I worked through college, probably close to 10 years at McDonald's.
And that's and you know what? Right now, my wife thinks I'm crazy, but I don't know what the kids say like they got their new slang, like that will slap. I'm like, I want a Big Mac and fries. That would slap right now.
That would slap, huh?
That would slap. I guess
like
that's
Big
I
Mac,
hear that.
man.
I have a 14-year-old, so well, hey,
I
good
haven't heard
man.
that one yet.
Yeah, let's do this anytime, man, and let's get with Sips and have you on the Friday ref calls too. I'm down.
I would love that. I would love that.
I'm down. Hey,
big
Sips,
shout out.
Sips, if you're listening,
go ahead.
Sips, if you're listening, Goog wants to come on.
I'll bring the videotape. All right, and you can explain how not you, but some of your fellow officials how they create the messes they do. Yeah,
I love it. We'll have referee debates.
We can do that, and like I said, I got the video. We could hash over some calls. Most of those guys, listen, very few, and I'm not going to sit here and say that some of them don't hold grudges. Matter of fact, I even wrote in and asked you how does he deal with some of the officials that he knows, and we all know that are that way. There are guys that will not let it go. I know there are coaches that won't let it go as well, but there are officials out there that won't let it go. And I hate when they take something out on one of my wrestlers because of me. You know, don't do that.
That's what I said, and that's what I said before we got done with the show. I said the one thing that I would like to see is leave the – I mean, obviously if the wrestlers are doing something unethical or wrong, then that's wrong. But for the most part, the wrestlers have a tough enough job to be the wrestlers. So it's not their fault. They don't ref and they don't coach. So that's between refs and coaches. It's hard enough to be the wrestler. Leave the kids alone.
I hear you. There's some of them though, no matter what they do, they step in it, and I don't know how, but they find a way to make something a real easy call, and they'll make it. You know, somehow they mess it up. I prefer those guys stay off my mat because I hate calling them on it.
They're probably not the only one.
No, and everybody's good. How did you never? I've never been thrown out. I've lost a point before, but once I get to a certain threshold, if you will, I know that I can't go any further because bad things are going to happen. I'm smart enough to shut my mouth. I know some people don't believe that, but I'm smart enough to shut my mouth at a certain point. I got thrown out of one tournament, but it was a USA tournament, and it's because something slipped, and I obviously used profanity. Jesse Falk got hit in a headlock, but let me tell you, there was no arm in the headlock. And I said, how can you – there was no fucking arm. Oh, am I allowed to say that?
Listen, you can say whatever you want on my show.
Good. Well, I obviously used profanity, and he threw me out. So
all right. Like, so before we go, tell us what GATA means.
All right. It's just GATA. Okay. Get after, and it's whatever you want it to be. If you want to beat that guy right there, go beat him. If you want a nice car in life, go get it. You want straight A's, go get it. Get after those accolades. Get after those awards. Get after the academics. But everybody thinks that it's get after that ass. Okay? It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy. If you want something in this world, if you want it, go get it. You're not going to sit back and wait. You want that hot girl? Go get her. I did. All right?
For sure.
Good stuff.
All right, good man. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. A shout out to all the Manatee wrestlers and all the beautiful and wonderful families and supporters that we have. I really appreciate your support.
Thank you, man. And I love being here.
Yep, you're doing a great job. I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Peace out, sir.